undergrad, I had taken a Japanese lit class. So the TA for that class was this really petite Japanese woman. She moderated the discussion of the class. I attended this one fateful discussion session. It was early spring. It was at the ungodly hour of 8 a.m. I was half awake, so right in the middle of the discussion, the TA just starts screaming. I came to full attention to see that a bee was attacking her. My classmates and I just sat there, watching her for 10 seconds. In my sleepy state, I got to thinking, hey, maybe I should help her. I took my jacket, marched up to the class, gestured for the TA to get behind me, then I proceeded to helicopter the shit out of that bee with my jacket. It flew out of the window. Drunk off of my own heroism, I turned to the class and I said very loudly, "That was a bee." My classmates looked like unimpressed Old Navy mannequins. I nodded, then I folded my jacket in my arms and went back to my seat.
That reminds me of my high school religion teacher, Mr. Tanny, who always began every semester with this complex set of rules, including that if he ever got stung by a bee in class for some reason, that we should open a drawer and get out his EpiPen and stab him in the leg because he was deathly allergic. However, one semester, I had signed up for a class called Reflective Living, which I thought was gonna be some kind of fluffy meditation thing. But in that class, instead of coming in and talking about his rules, he walked in the door with this big walking stick he always carried, and he turned off the lights. He slams his walking stick down on the table and he says, "When you die, first, your heart will stop. Second, your bladder and bowels will empty. And then within 30 minutes, the blood in your veins will begin to drain, your hands and feet will turn blue, and the lower parts of your body will turn purple from the blood that is collecting. Within 4 hours, your muscles will begin to stiffen and rigor mortis sets in." He proceeds to list in detail all of the stages of decomposition and decay of the human body, right down to maggots eating your insides. And after all of our bodies are bones and dust, he turns on the lights again and he says, "Welcome to Reflective Living. I hope you're taking notes because that will be on the test." Turns out the class I was in was called Death and Dying until somebody decided that was too morbid or something. Can't imagine why.
That actually reminds me of something I did a lot of my childhood called freaking myself out. What I mean is, I was the kind of kid that if I went to sleep and closed my eyes, I could imagine myself aging very rapidly. So I close my eyes and all of a sudden I go from being 6 years old to being 20, to being 30, to being 40, to being 50, to being 60, to being 70, to being 80, to being 90. And it freaked me the heck out. To the point where I convinced myself that when you die, you don't really die. You just fall asleep. But people don't know that, so they don't try to wake you up. So they just put you in a coffin and they start throwing dirt on you. And I could see myself having that happen. I see the dirt being fallen on the coffin and me being not able to talk, but me screaming, oh my God, I'm still awake, stop, I'm still awake, stop it, stop it, stop it. And they wouldn't stop, they just kept throwing on the dirt. And I was like, oh no! And then I wake up. And then I wouldn't be able to sleep because every time I closed my eyes, I just started aging all over again. So the only way I was able to go to sleep, I had to look next to my little bed stand there and pull out a book. And it was normally something like the Bernstein Bears or one of those golden books that I used to read back in the day. And I had to read that to get all the negative thoughts out of my head, and then I could fall asleep.
That reminds me of when I was a kid and I had a lot of really irrational fears too. I was not a brave kid by any stretch of the imagination. One of the things was that I was always really afraid that someone was hiding underneath my bed, and if my foot got too close to my bed and it was dark, someone was gonna grab my foot. Logistically, the worst thing that can happen is someone grabs my foot and I call the police. But that's still something that scares me to this day. Another thing that used to really scare me was having my closet doors open when I slept. They had to be closed all the way, they couldn't even be cracked a little bit. And this was something that I made the mistake of telling my father about. Not a good decision on my part. So I'm all ready for bed, my mom's tucked me in, all the lights are off, I am ready for sleep. And then I glance over my closet like I do every night just to make sure it's shut, and I look over and it's slowly sliding open and a hand emerges from my closet. And there's a figure emerging from my closet and it's my father. Years of trauma followed that.
I think in the beginning she said something about having irrational fears. I have this fear that anytime I go into a place that sells fountain drinks and they have the lids, you have to put your own plastic lid on the cup, I never pick the first one. I'll always go 2 or 3 down because I think someone must have had to at some point picked up the first one and either licked on it or spit into it. I was trying to think in preparing for this particular what we're doing now, I was trying to think why I have this. If I'm like weirded out by spit, I just think that I had the type of friends growing up that would spit on everything that they wanted, and they wanted to ruin it for me more specifically. Even if they didn't want the thing that I had, they wanted to ruin it for me. And I think getting pretty deep, I guess. I don't know where it comes from. I'm not weirded out by spit. Everybody spits. I'm writing a children's book right now called Everybody Spits. What are you laughing at? My girlfriend's in our room right now spitting on everything that I own.
Thank you for watching one time. If you're new here, my name is Leslie. I just wanted to share with you all that we officially have an official Twitter page, mostly because I want my personal Twitter back. I'm not going to let you know the kind of stuff I'm going to be tweeting on there because I've already started tweeting on there. So if you want to learn more, please check out the Twitter page. For this week's set of YouTube recommendations, I want you guys to give me recs for older YouTubers, you know, just not teenagers or college students. Who are some of the older sibling-like, parent-like, grandparent-like, aunt or uncle-like YouTube figure that you watch? Let me know in the comment section below because those are the type of people I learn a lot from, and I want to continue learning. So, bye!